All That's News, your afternoon local news, traffic, and weather update with Matt Lane. Weekday afternoons, 4:40 until all sports talk on News Radio WGNS. Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. You know, MTE's Sharing Change has donated more than $11 million to local nonprofits, assisting worthy causes in our community. MTE, serving to make life better since 1936. It's time to catch up with Rutherford County School Board member Sheila Bratton, representing Zone 6, but really representing the school board here today and all of Rutherford County schools. Miss Sheila, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
It is good to have you here. And, you know, sometimes we get caught up in zones and commission districts and all that kind of thing. But, you know, once you're on the school board, you represent students in Laverne and Smyrna and all of Rutherford County.
You represent everyone, and we do a pretty good job remembering that. I am very proud of the fact that the school board just doesn't say my zone. Mm-hmm. This is what I want my zone to do. This is what... Instead, they look at it as a whole, and that's very important. You know as well as I do, I'm from here. And I was educated here. I was educated in Murfreesboro City. I was educated as a 1971 Murfreesboro Central High School graduate. These are all our children and all our people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a school system that has, I mean, you've seen it grow right before your very eyes as well as I have.
The growth is phenomenal. We picked up 2,000 children this year. 2,000. There are districts in Tennessee that don't have 2,000 children.
That's what's amazing. And I always like to give this visual because, you know, think of you pass an elementary school around every corner, it seems. So an elementary school is built for about 1,000.
About.
So somewhere around there.
But that's not where our elementary schools are setting, as you well know.
Yeah. But, you know, so that would be 2 new elementary schools a year to hold those students, is my point.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, almost one comprehensive high school. Mm-hmm. We are looking at building our comprehensive high schools, or trying to get our high schools and keep them at 2,500. Keep them. It's not easy. We are experiencing explosive growth, and we've got to have seats. And
I think it goes without saying it, or at least it would be good for us to remind people as well, is the Rutherford County is mandated by the state to have a seat for every child that comes here.
Absolutely. You know, you have to follow the law.
Yeah. It's a shame that not all of the money comes along with that, too. So
you said it, I didn't.
So growth is something that I don't know how you have to deal with it all the time. I mean, that's like the big issue, isn't it?
Growth is I believe our number one issue. We have 3 things that we really are looking at closely this year. Growth being number one, trying to get enough seats for our kids. Everybody deserves a seat. And we would like for everybody to have a seat not in a portable. Now, we've not been able to get rid of portables, you know how long. I mean, we had to buy more. And it's a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. It's not feasible to keep putting our children in portables. It's not safe. But we have some plans for some additions, as you well know, that are still in front of the county commission, and they're still discussing them. But we would like to make things a lot safer and get extra seats by putting some additions at Smyrna High School, Riverdale High School, and Oakland High School. We voted on Oakland last night. We had the last bid come in. And knowing how things are in construction right now, you can imagine Smyrna High School came under bid, but the other 2 came in higher than we wanted them to. But we're 3/4 of the way into this process, and I'm hoping we can finish it out.
So for those who have been around Oakland and Riverdale high schools, there is an area. Well, you've got the annex, used to be called when I was at Oakland, the freshman building.
The freshman building, yes. It never really was, but that's what it was called.
Yeah,
yes.
And so that is there are like 3 separate buildings on those 2 campuses, and with this addition, I think it brings it all kind of under one roof.
It does. It brings it under one roof. You know, there is a road that goes between the main building and the annexes. And because of, I'm going to give Trey Lee a shout out here, his ingenuity, he looked at that and thought, what can I do to connect all of that and keep our children from walking outside? If you just want to talk about weather alone, if it's pouring down rain and they're trying, it's like being in college. Remember how that was? You were in college and you were, dripping wet all the time. Plus safety, not having our children walking around the outsides of those buildings. And we have to look at that. And his original plan, which has been, of course, worked on by our architects, is a bridge kind of structure that goes over the road so that children can go without ever going outside.
So it kind of, if you've been on the MTSU campus where they've built the new student union building,
yes,
it's kind of like that.
Exactly. It's along that order. It's of course not near as fancy as that one, but it still bridges those 2 buildings that, unfortunately, this day and age, it's just not safe. Plus, those buildings are 50 years old. They need a little updating. Let's face facts. And Smyrna High is sitting there with 15 portables outside of their building.
Goodness.
15. And that building needs a little updating too. So we're hoping to accomplish all of this in one fell swoop before we have to build another comprehensive high school, which is coming soon.
Oh, I can only imagine with the growth. So the 3 additions, I would assume that the hope is to get that in this next budget year and start maybe sometime this summer, early spring, early fall.
That is our hope. If everything goes through the way that we would like for it to, because these additions won't be open in the fall.
Right.
It will be at least 2 years.
2 years.
Probably so. It takes about 18 months. These are major additions. These aren't just 3 classrooms to the back. These are major additions. So,
and that would add a capacity of about 2,500?
No, not quite 2,500, but I can tell you right now what we're going to do, and it's it's a have to. We have to rezone the entire county, and that is what we will be looking at next year during the year. A complete rezoning. I know that's hard for parents. I know parents move to a certain area thinking, oh, my child is going to go here, and it just depends on what the rezoning looks like. We had a third party come in and look at that also. Clarksville, Montgomery, that is growing very fast, had a third party come in and help them look at everything: capacity, rooms, zones, the few schools that are not at capacity, and we have very few, and see how things can be rezoned so that everyone gets their fair share. So as Claire Maxwell calls it, shared sacrifice.
There you go. Yeah. Sheila Bratton is with us, Rutherford County School Board member. This rezoning, you've been on the board. You've gone through some rezonings. We all know that it's painful.
It is.
But you're saying this is a process we just have to go through.
It is absolutely something we're going to have to do. The thing is, it's not going to just affect 3 schools. It's going to affect everybody. I would be very surprised if every single school does not see some rezoning. And some of those schools, like our comprehensive high schools that right now are setting at between 21 and 25, There are a couple of our comprehensive high schools that are not quite full, and they know that the students are coming. We have to rezone.
And so you're talking about a few hundred students here and there to get all of the high schools at about the same enrollment.
Yes.
But we're adding 2,000 students a year, or we did this year. And so, it's like a moving target.
It is. It is completely a moving target, and we try to stay ahead of it, but you can't do that in Rutherford. You cannot stay ahead of it. If we could get those 3 additions, which I'm sincerely hoping that we do, and we bought property last night. That property is in Blackman, which is one of our fastest growing areas, and we hope to be able to put 2 schools on that property. So we are in desperate need of an elementary school to relieve Stewart's Creek Elementary and to relieve Blackman Elementary. They are way overcrowded. A new elementary school on the new property would alleviate the overcrowding in those 2 schools.
Well, let's talk about that, because at the school board meeting last night, you all voted in favor of purchasing the Beatty property.
We did.
And that's in the Blackman area. A lot of people know the Beatty Farm and John L. and all of that. So that is in our fastest growing area. I don't think there's any argument with that. So there's enough room for 2 schools.
Yes.
An elementary school and
another one
of some type.
We have not made a decision. It may be an elementary and a middle. Dr. Sullivan has actually mentioned an idea, and this is an out-of-the-box idea, of a 612. But it's going to be 2 schools that are going to relieve us in an area that is it's just so needed. It's almost embarrassing. It's so needed.
So with the purchase of the property, it's obvious that there will be a school built on that property, but that's not within this year's budget. So you're looking down the road.
The county commission has it before them right now.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
that's good to know.
it was in. We had different options that were presented to us as budget from Dr. Sullivan, and the board decided on option 1, and option 1 included the 3 additions and 1 elementary school.
Okay, and so that's what is before the county commission.
That's what's there and that they're looking at for our budget.
And so for people to understand that the county commission is the one, the body that maintains the purse strings, if you will.
That's where we get our money.
Yes.
we don't make our own, but they have been great to listen to us, to be sympathetic, to know that this county's not getting any smaller. It's only growing. And we're one of the top 3 districts in the state of Tennessee. The other 2 districts that are larger than we are Shelbyville and Metro, and then us. And we maintain a level 5 rating as a top district. So not only do we want places for our kids to sit, we want places for our kids to continue learning.
Well, and that's why we're adding 2,000 students a year.
It's exactly why we're adding 2,000 students, because people know. They know what a great school system this is, and they know how hard we work to keep it that way.
There's so many things to get into, and our time's running short, but I did want to make sure that we talked about looking at a salary schedule, and this is pretty important to Dr. Sullivan, and I think he's made that known to the school board, hasn't he?
He has. Dr. Sullivan, the board actually had voted for another third-party vendor to come in and study our salary schedule and compare it to surrounding areas. Are we paying as well as Metro? No, we are not. We'll never pay as well as Metro. They pay beautifully, but can we get in the ballpark? And that's what we've been doing, and we've been looking at both certified and classified. We don't pay our classified people enough, but we're going to.
So this is I guess, a schedule that, what is the hope? Once you get through this process, what should certified and classified employees get?
Well,
or think?
I'm gonna give you an example. At this point, our beginning custodians that have come in only make a little over $13 an hour. That's not a livable wage. Custodians are an essential part of any educational building. Everyone knows that. They do everything from cleaning up little Johnny's puke to taking care of the bathrooms for the kids, everything. So their salary, if things work out and things are the way Dr. Sullivan has planned it, will go up to a little over $16 an hour. That's a big difference. The other area that we've been very concerned about are EAs. Our EAs stepped in during COVID and did everything. They helped us teach. They substituted in classrooms that didn't have teachers. They have been invaluable, and we want to make sure that we understand how very important they are. So EA salaries is another thing we looked at, but we've looked at everything. Cafeteria workers, EAs, custodians, every single certified and classified position is being examined.
So is there a hope to present this and have this part of the upcoming year's budget?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Dr. Sullivan will be making a huge presentation to us on April the 20th. If you want to tune in, he's shown us a little bit of this, but they're still fooling with the numbers, making sure that those numbers are good. You know, we have TISA funding coming in, and that's coming from the state, and we want to use TISA funding as much as possible to bring our salaries in line with surrounding counties.
And that's all very important. We know that every business is, experiencing a shortage, and I know Rutherford County Schools, there's a shortage of custodians and EAs and all of that, and so hopefully this will help bring that up to a level where these are more enticing jobs.
I think it's going to make a difference. Another thing on this salary schedule that I'm so proud of is that Dr. Sullivan has looked at those people who stay with us. Right now, the salary schedule ends at year 20 as far as raises go for your certified people. He has put in raises every year for 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. People need to be rewarded for staying with us. Loyalty means a lot.
Sure.
Expertise, knowledge. We need to let those people know how much we appreciate them sticking by us all this time.
Very interesting conversation. Ms. Sheila, thanks for stopping in. It's always fun.
Thank you. Call me anytime.
Will do. That's Sheila Bratton joining us today here on Rutherford Issues.
Hello, this is Lenny Farmer with Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home. Often when a man or woman finish pre-planning their funerals with me, I hear, we should have